So we're in the midst of the biggest remote working experiment in history. It's forced, of course. It's not something that we've chosen. And there's a lot of noise around there about how productivity has increased with virtual working. I know we both share concerns around on the impact on areas such as well-being, culture, and innovation. What are some of the things that you're seeing from the data?
Yeah, it's first of all, I think what we will learn from this experience or grand experiment where we are all part of this experiment, I think what we will learn from this will fast forward the future work 5 to maybe as many as 10 years into the future. I mean, we all know that we're not going back to the way things were. Even when the world settles down and we get a vaccine for this virus, we have created new possibilities, and the human beings inside of organizations are going to have a perspective of how they want to work. I think we've learned a lot as a result of that. Back to, sort of the social capital aspects of this, where I am most concerned, David, and we just talked about, bridging and bonding, is what we're seeing in the early signals. First of all, let's start here. I think all of us have been stunned that productivity has generally increased in these times. I think most managers would have said, if you would have thought that everyone was going to go virtual and for the next 6 to 9 months, and it will obviously be longer than that, we're going to be disconnected from one another, at least other than through Zoom and other social channels, I think most of us would have anticipated that productivity would have dropped. Well, we haven't seen that. And quite the contrary, we've actually seen, in most cases, productivity has increased. And one of the reasons for that is what you need to be productive is more bonding social capital. So in the very, very early days, what we've seen is, and a lot of this research has already been published, is your very closest contacts have actually solidified and maybe even increased the number of interactions you have from a bonding social capital standpoint. The research says your 5 closest colleagues, your connections with them have increased by 15%. At the same point, we're seeing a rapid decay in bridging connections already. And Ron Burt predicted this in many years ago, or studied this many years ago. Even in physical settings, what we know is that bridging social capital, those interactions you have with other people beyond your team or beyond your local cluster, are far more susceptible to decay. And Ron Burt's work in a physical setting said 9 out of 10 of those newly formed connections will erode within the first year. And we all know that. Like, you go to a conference and you have the best intentions to stay connected, and 9 out of 10 times you reach out to that person a time or two, but within a year, that connection has severed. That's what we're seeing in the virtual world. A 30% drop, pretty sudden early drop in bridging social capital. And you already know, based on what I said about innovation, why that's a problem. It means that we will be able to move faster because we're going to have less disruptions for those local cohesive teams, but we're going to lose new ideas. So on the discovery side, we're not going to have nearly as fertile of new ideas. And then ultimately, we're going to lose the ability to scale those ideas across the broader organization in order to get them implemented. So my real long-term concern is around innovation. And I think we're seeing the early signals. Time will tell. We're a very creative species as human beings. We may find ways to work around this, and it's certainly not impossible to maintain bridge connections virtually. But I think we're already seeing signals of that beginning to erode.
In this series, we will be speaking to a range of senior leaders who are pushing a data-driven and digital HR agenda. Make sure that you subscribe via your podcast app of choice and also via our YouTube channel for free and regular interviews with the digital HR leaders of the future.